afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the sunset safari that we are about to take you all on. It is going to be a wonderful afternoon. There is a few clouds about, which means that it's not too hot, but it doesn't look like any rain, so that's wonderful news. Now, my name is Tristan, and on camera today I've got Fergus, and it is a special warm welcome to the schools that are joining us this afternoon. So Salem Middle School and Virginia Beach. It's going to be a wonderful time this afternoon. Hopefully that you guys will absolutely loving it. And apparently they're in the last hour, so I'm just completely talking nonsense. I didn't read my message properly. Exactly. Fergus, sort me out. Anyway, Kirsty, let's get into the different speech then. This is our different opening, which is for all of you regular viewers, and that is that you can tweet us on hashtag Safari Live or on YouTube chat and just tell me what a fool I am right now. Done. Right. So the plan is for this afternoon is that, well, I'm being vanquished to Chitwa. And Jigga is being taken that way. We do have the drone with us, so we'll mess around with the drone a little bit this afternoon, which will be quite nice. Also, there was reports of the Styx Pride around Chitwa, so we're going to go follow up in that area. Ali, I think, is going to be going off to the Nkuhumas and Byron to Hukumuri. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully lots and lots of different things around, and hopefully we'll be successful with all of those. And so let's send you across to the man himself, Biceps Byron, as he mows down a big bush.
Not every bush, Tristan. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is Vim. And we are in search of a leopard first off. I'm heading into this very thick area. We had him this morning, a Hukumuri male, and he did come into this really thick stuff around here. Now, I'm not sure if he is still around. We're going to have to look very, very carefully. I know Tristan left him lying in this thick stuff, but it has been really cool today. So chances are this leopard could very well have moved. And he seemed a bit tense this morning. The reason for that is there was another leopard around, and I think there was a bit of a territorial dispute going on. We weren't sure which other leopard it was. We didn't get a good view. We did see it very briefly, and then it disappeared. But there was definitely another leopard not far from here, and these two were growling at one another, but they just missed each other. I don't know if they met up earlier before we met them, or if they just picked up on the scent of each other. Anyway, this male was walking through, and he eventually came down into this thick drainage line, so he may still be here. And I think what I might do is I might have to take a little walk through here quickly and just have a look and see if we can't find any sign of this leopard. So while I do that, let's go across to Ali, who has found some big cats already.
We have, and it seems like they're having a very wonderful afternoon siesta. Now, they're not exactly where we left them this morning, although they're about 5 meters away. What they had to do is, because it got very hot at one point throughout the day, was just to come underneath the shade of the tree. Ah, hello. Very powerful teeth you've got there. Very clean too. Now, they've all pretty much come and gathered around the one tree, so I reckon this was the only actual shade that they had throughout the day. Now that it's become overcast again, well, they're all lying in different places. My name is Ali, and on camera with me today is Senza, and we're very happy to have you guys on board and share this moment with the Nkuhuma Pride of Lions, all the way from South Africa. If you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to send them using the hashtag Safari Live or commenting on the YouTube chat. I think we're going to be spending part of our afternoon with them. It is cloudy and overcast, so there is the potential of them getting a little bit more active. Entangled in the tree, of course. I don't know how you're going to be able to move without stepping on someone. Weather wonder, the Styx and the Nkuhumas are very far apart. We are roughly towards the center part of Djuma, and the Styx were left this morning around about the center part of Chitwa. So from here to there is about a 10-15 minute drive, so it's a few kilometers if we had to do it in a straight line. So I don't think for this afternoon, unless they decide to pretty much walk towards each other, that there's much of a chance of them actually bumping into one another. Which is probably good, because both prides have little cubs with them, or young cubs with them. So when lion prides meet up, it's not the greatest affair, and the reason for it is they're territorial creatures. They don't like other animals or other lions in their particular area, so I'm sure it would get very violent, whereby the females would try to protect their young, but at the same time perhaps try to kill the ones of the other pride. So I don't think it's something that I would like to see. I definitely don't like to see any animals being killed. So hopefully all of the Nkuhumas will stay where they are. Now, Hukumuri, the male leopard, was left not too far from here, and I know Byron's looking for him, so hopefully he'll be around. But it seems like he also knows better than to come and interrupt the sleep of a pride of lions. Even when they're looking so nice and sleepy. All I would have to do to wake them up, which of course I wouldn't do, is just to get out of the car. And then that would certainly get a lot of faces and heads up and a lot of animals either running in all directions or coming and eating me. Either way, it's not something that I would like to try. I think they look best the way they are. Now there are some rolling around in the back. And you can tell just, oh, hello. Very cute. The grass is very long in the area where they're in, and they've pretty much squashed it all around, which is good, because now, because they have been moving and they've been squashing the grass, and I think they've probably got into the hard part of the ground and they don't have that extra cushion, then it's better for us as we're able to see them, because earlier on this morning in the spot where they were, it was a little bit tricky because they were all hiding. So you see here, it's almost become like a platform, really, of all of them around the tree. And then because during the day they were all huddled underneath the tree, probably for shade, then now that's created the perfect way for us to be able to see them all. So I'm hoping they're going to wake up at some point. It could be a good afternoon. If the conditions carry on like this, they might just be able to get up and start moving. Now, the buffalo herd that they were after this morning, we know that they've carried on going onto our western boundary, probably terrified at the fact that the lions tried hunting them. So they've carried on moving, and I think they've actually gone quite far away from here. I know Tristan was driving around in the middle of the day, and he said he found the tracks for the buffaloes that went all the way to Simambili, which is all the way on our northern and western boundary. So I think those buffalo decided that it was a lot easier just to stay clear, get away, rather than actually risking another hunt by the lions. But I wouldn't be surprised if the lions now decided to go after them, or perhaps even get interested in something smaller. Although, as you can imagine, something as little as a warthog or as an impala wouldn't be the greatest meal for all these lions. They would finish it very quickly. Sleepy cats. The kings and queens of the jungle, as they say. In the tall grass like that, you guys almost seem like it. Now, I'm surprised not even the little one is moving around. He's normally the big troublemaker. So in this particular pride of lions, we have a bunch of sub-adults which are a lot bigger. They almost look like big lions now, although they still have quite a while to grow. And we've got a youngster that is about half the size of the rest of them. And because he's the youngest one, he's always looking for playmates and companions. And it's almost like he's got way more energy than the rest of them, moving around and trying to get everyone to do all sorts of different things. But even him is sleeping. While these lions carry on with their beauty sleep, we're going to patiently wait here, see if perhaps they do decide to move at some point during this afternoon. But while I do that, let's head to Byron and jump across on his leopard search.
Well, Ali, I'm sure if you're very patient, those lions will get up. It's a bit cooler today, so maybe they become a bit more active earlier rather than later this evening. Now, I checked that thicket, no sign of that leopard, so he definitely moved off. Now, I'm not too sure which direction he went. It's very thick, it's difficult to find tracks. So I'm now driving along and having a look just to see if we can find any sign of this leopard. However, I think because there was another leopard in the area, he was moving up and down quite a lot. So this male could have gone anywhere. He did turn in circles a number of times while we were following him this morning. So he could have gone anywhere. But we're going to head up this area and then go back around towards the clearings above camp quarantine area. And just have a look and see if we can't find any sign of this leopard. I wouldn't be surprised if he's lying in one of these thick drainage lines at the moment. That would be my guess. That would be my guess. So what we're going to have to wait for then is hopefully antelope like the impala or maybe a wildebeest see him and start alarm calling, and that might give us a better chance of finding him if he's moving around. Just having a look here. No sign just yet. Alright, well, I think let's go back to Ali and just see if she's going to stay with those lions. I think it would be a good idea. Let's go and find out.
I think we are going to stay with them indeed, Byron, and I wonder if perhaps Hukumuri didn't move closer to Ingus, because throughout the day the baboons and the wildebeest were going a little bit crazy, so I'm wondering if perhaps they saw Hukumuri male move in that direction. Perhaps he went towards the dam for a drink. Could have been. It was a very hot day today, but I'm sure between Byron and VM they'll manage to have a look and just try and follow up. Seems like the dam cam is still down, but I know Jared, the tag master, is looking into it, so hopefully he'll be able to fix it at some point. I think we're gonna then have to rely on Byron moving down towards the dam area, see if perhaps he can find anything in there. Now our lions are pretty sleepy. I nearly killed myself with the seat. Anna, there are some predators that don't spend the whole day sleeping. They're a little bit more active in between. The leopards are a good example of it. They don't always sleep as much as the lions do, so they'll sleep more in patches than what we're seeing these beautiful guys here do. They will sleep for about maybe 12 to 16 hours straight in one go, whereas the leopards, they will do a little bit here, then they will sleep for a little while, then they'll get up, then they'll sleep again, and so on and so on. Then other smaller things, for example, the wild dogs. The wild dogs are also a good example of creatures that will not sleep throughout the day as the lions do, but they will almost be active in patches. They do sleep good naps throughout the day, but not as much as the lions do. Now, part of the other species of predators that can be, for example, jackals, are also active throughout the day. So I think the ones that take it to the extreme, really, those are the lions, as they really have a reputation for a reason. And I always find it funny when you see them like this. It's almost like, what are you guys gonna do, really? The king of the jungle, because they look very cute and pretty harmless, but then once they get up and then they start moving, they normally mean business. I am hoping you guys are going to start moving at some point, because it's not like you have moved all too much today, although that adrenaline rush trying to hunt the buffalo, I'm sure that's made them tired. And from what I managed to see on the YouTube or on the videos that we saw this morning, even the youngsters were running around and trying to get him the hunt. So I think it was a little bit disorganized of them. And when they're still young, obviously now they're starting to go with their parents or with the females to the hunts to learn, to see what it is that they've got to do and how they've got to do it, because there's a certain technique. They can't just run and barge in and then go chasing after whatever animal they're trying to hunt, because very likely whatever it is that they're trying to hunt will either fight them off or spot them way before they even have an actual chance of doing anything. So when they're this young, I think patience is the thing that they've got to learn. They don't hide the world the way that they're supposed to. So it's funny. It's always funny when the little ones are around. You've got a good spot there. It's almost like you're in a hammock. Oh, my voice. Sleeping all the way down there, are you? And you can see there's a nice breeze coming around thanks to the grass that's blowing. Beautiful. Things are not too much is going to change here in the next little while. Let's head over to Byron and find out if he's had any more luck.
So no luck just yet, but we're having a look for signs of any wildlife at the moment. I did see some fresh elephant tracks around Quarantine earlier as we headed out. I'm hoping we find a nice big bull elephant, maybe feeding on some marula fruit. So let's have a look. But I don't think that leopard came in this direction. I think he went the other way. Potato, yes, we stream every day, every morning, and afternoon for our sunrise and sunset safaris. So you can watch us every day. Every day is different, obviously. All depends what we find. So in the mornings it's from 5:30 to 8:30. This is all Central African time, obviously. And then in the afternoons from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. So hopefully you stay with us and join us daily or as often as you can. It's wonderful to have new viewers on Safari Live. Can hear some birds. What are those again? Just trying to listen up. Sounded like grey hornbills almost. See if we can find them. Palin, you say you wouldn't call this a stream. This is a river of awesomeness. Well, thank you, Palin. We're glad you're always happy to hear our viewers enjoy Safari Live with us. And it is a lot of fun. You know, we try our best to show you what it would be like on a safari in Africa on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes we have amazing luck. This morning we had lions, 2 leopards, elephant. And other times it takes us a bit longer to find the animals, but that's the exciting thing about it. And you come along with us every step of the way, and you can see how we try and use our bush knowledge and skills to find the animals. Now, I wonder if this leopard isn't somewhere in this drainage line off to my right. I think it would make sense. It's not too warm today, but you know, leopards do enjoy resting during the day, just like the lions that Ellie is with. Let's go and see if they're still resting.
Seems like this lion is resting in style. Now, conveniently, there's a branch or what looks like almost like a broken down stump that he's using as a paw rest. Every now and again, he sort of wakes up and then tries to hug his paws. It's almost like he's stretching in the typical fashion that lions do, and then stretches back out again. Clearly he just likes having his paws up in the air. Doesn't matter if it's on a stick or on somebody else. And the lion that's being stepped on upon, he's the one that was moving earlier on. So I think that more than dreaming like dogs was, I think that I saw something fly away. So I wonder if they're calling him.
Oh dear, looks like Ellie's got a few gremlins with her this afternoon. Let's have a look. There's a beautiful bird. It just took off and flew away. An African hoopoe. Wonderful bird, but it just flew off. Now I'm going to check this road. These are the clearings above camp. Quarantine. I know a lot of you know this about me. I really don't like that name. I don't know why. It just doesn't feel like an appropriate name for a bush clearing. Quarantine. If it was up to me, we'd change it. Sharon, you asked if I could find you a ground hornbill. I'll try my best. We actually saw one this morning, briefly. However, it was up in a tree and we spotted it for a minute or two and then it flew off before we could show anybody. It wasn't calling though, it was just perched up in the tree. But if we hear them, we'll definitely try and look for them. Okay, so while I'm driving now, I'm going to have a look along this road to see if that leopard came out anywhere around here. Now, it's quite hard in sections, so if this leopard crossed the road up ahead, we wouldn't see the tracks at all. So then we've just got to scan and hopefully find something. But I've got a feeling he's in here somewhere. Problem is, you can't just drive through there. It's so thick, and you probably get yourself into a sticky situation. So we hope that maybe we find tracks or hear some alarm call or any sign that this leopard is in there, and it'll make it a bit easier for us to find him. Gilly, there are many baboons and monkeys around here. Now, this morning, just before we finished drive, we came up onto these clearings and there was a huge troop of baboons all over here. One of the main reasons is because there's a lot of fruit. With all these marula trees around, there's a lot of fruit for these baboons to feed on. So we saw a huge troop of baboons. We had a baboon, or one or two baboons actually, on the roof at camp this morning after breakfast, and then we also get a lot of monkeys, vervet monkeys. Do you see something, Viam? Hold on, Viam has spotted something. All spotted, Viam. Some long ears in the grass and a long tail. Don't run away. There we go. Small family group of warthogs. I do enjoy the warthogs. I think they've got such character. Love seeing them. But they tend to be quite shy. Look at those tails up in the air. Now the theory with that is it helps them follow each other through the long grass. So it's a sign that they're startled, tails raise up in the air, and then with them running they can follow those little tufts as they run. But they are interesting creatures, the warthogs. And we see them up on these clearings every day. Now, the reason they'd be up here is because there's a lot of green vegetation, a lot of grass and grass shoots, which is what the warthogs are looking for. That's what they prefer feeding on. So there's a lot of good food here. It's nice and open. They can see. I mean, we're about almost 100 meters away from them, but they could see us clearly. So if there's any danger, they can just run away. And I think that's exactly what they've done now. They felt a little threatened, so they ran off. So these animals are definitely clever. Sounds like the gremlins are attacking both Tristan and Ali. Sorry, I thought I saw some movement through the thickets. Possibly just some birds fluttering about. Let's just have a look. No, I think it was just some birds. But it's good to stop like this and just switch off and listen for a while. Remember I said we're listening out for some alarm calls perhaps? Anything that might help us find this leopard that we are looking for. It's quite humid at the moment. I think with all this cloud cover, the air is very, very thick. So it is very humid. Okay, well, I'm just going to check this drainage line over here quickly. I think let's go back across to Ali and just see if she's managed to fight off those gremlins.
Seems like we have, although I'm not too sure if the gremlins were just here to help the lion sleep a little bit easier or in a bit more privacy. But as you can see, nothing has changed, and I doubt that anything will actually change with the lions in the next little while. I reckon they're going to just carry on enjoying the very nice spot that they've decided to command and claim for the day. Now, Treehouse Dam is not too far from here, so I'm actually tempted to go down there and just have a look at the dam itself, see if perhaps we can pick up on any tracks for that other male leopard and perhaps give Byron or help Byron into a certain direction as to where one of these male leopards could have gone. I think maybe we're just going to wait around for the lions for a little bit, and then maybe we'll head down there to have a quick look at the situation down there, see if there's anything happening. And then if not, then we're going to come back to the lions until they wake up. They can go many places from here, and if they go down to Treehouse Dam for a drink, that could also be such a stunning view, hopefully of all of them lined up again drinking. That's still one of my favorite things when they all, and they may have, alright, seems like the gremlins are still attacking us, so let's head back to Byron in the meantime.
Oh dear, so they've still got some technical issues. That's okay, not to worry, you can stick with us. Now where I should go, I haven't seen any sign of this leopard coming out here, but I'm going to check carefully up ahead. Oh, hang on, what is that? There we go. We've got an elephant. Remember I said I saw some fresh elephant tracks earlier. Maybe there's a chance that we could find this elephant or an elephant. Ah, there are two of them. Great. I think they're feeding on the marula fruit probably. Just gonna go around the corner here. Switch off and roll up slowly. Oh, just a little shake of the head there. These look like two young males. Well, they can be a bit boisterous at times, but I think they're actually quite relaxed and feeding on the marula fruit. There's a lot of marula fruit still falling around us. And you can see they've actually, there we go, you can see the marula fruit at their feet. These are my favorites. I love spending time with them. You can see they've actually broken a branch just behind there. Have a look at that. Broken a branch and busy picking up the marula fruit. But have a look. Let's see if it grabs that one. Probably will. Wait, go. Oh no, I missed it. I'm going to sit still because this one's moving closer to us. So we'll keep our voices down. See what it decides. It's a young bull. You can see he's keeping a close eye on us, but he doesn't seem threatened by us at all. He's purely looking for fruit. Can probably hear the fruit falling behind us from these marula trees. Sinak, good afternoon to you. And yes, definitely elephants would definitely help spread the marula seed. Hold on, I'm just watching this young bull. See, he came out a little quickly there. But look at all the fruit there. So Sinak, yes, they definitely help spread the fruit and the seeds, because obviously with these elephants feed on a huge amount of fruit, and then as they walk and they defecate, they drop dung. Their dung is filled with marula fruit. So it's actually a great way to spread the marula seeds. Have a look how many he's got in his trunk there. So he picks it up and just throws it in his mouth. Okay, he's coming closer. Wow, he's very close now. But he doesn't look upset at all. Oh, this is great. Just keep an eye on him. But you see, I'm just keeping my voice very low, very relaxed, not moving quickly. The elephants are comfortable. They've moved closer to us. It's not as if we drove right up to them. We parked away from them. They've decided to walk this way. It's wonderful. It's really, really lovely. I'm hoping this other one decides to walk a little closer to us too. See, now for me, a sighting like this is just wonderful. Oh, this one shook his head at us, and it's just a sign, not really an aggressive sign. He's just maybe thinking, or just warning us, don't come any closer. I do apologize for the aerial. Unfortunately, there's an elephant standing right behind it. Roshni, you are curious as to whether or not the elephants respond in a negative way if we keep our voices at a normal tone. Well, the thing is, Roshni, we just try to be sensitive. I don't think they would necessarily respond in a negative way. No, probably. If I was making a noise and speaking really loudly, it would most likely cause the elephants to move off and not be comfortable with us. Now look, this one's coming a bit closer. Let's see, I'm keeping an eye on both of them the whole time, and they don't seem aggressive at all. So Roshni, yes, look, if I was speaking really loudly and making noise and moving around, definitely the elephants wouldn't be happy. They wouldn't be comfortable with getting so close to us. Kim, elephants definitely have an odor. I'm just going to keep my voice down a little bit. This other one's coming closer again. It's right behind us. Alright, he's just opening his ears, just watching us. Wonderful. Not aggressive, just cautious, just warning us, lifting his head a little bit. Now the young bulls will do this. They try and test us a little bit and see if they can chase us away. So getting back to the question about the odor, they do definitely have an odor. They've got quite a strong smell, especially males when they go into that must, the period of must, when they're looking to mate with females. A lot of testosterone going through their body, a lot of hormones, or the increased level of hormones. So they secrete that substance from the temporal gland down their forehead, and the big males, they drip from the penis, and that is pungent, very, very pungent. A lot of liquid coming out of their pores and their body, and it's such a strong smell. I don't know the best way to describe it. I once described it, I think, as off blue cheese, but I don't know if that's a good description. Anyway, we'll think of another description. Maybe we can ask Tristan how he would describe the scent of must.
Well, Byron, it's very similar to when you take your shoes off, and that's generally how it smells. No, I'm joking. It's not like that at all. Byron is a cleanly fellow, and he always makes sure that he keeps himself in good condition. But the smell of must is a funny smell to try and describe. I don't know if about off blue cheese. It's more chemical smell than that. It kind of has this pungentness that just gets up into your nose, but I don't think it is a sort of cheese smell. I think it's more kind of chemical. It's a funny smell, though. It's very difficult to describe. There's nothing quite like it on the earth, and really not many things that get up your nose quite like the smell of must. Now, we do not have any bull elephants that will be smelling like that just yet, well, that I can see. This just looks like a nice small family grouping. There's a couple little babies and two rather large females. In fact, there is one female that looks heavily pregnant. If you look at her there, you see how rounded her stomach is. You see it's pushing out quite heavily at the moment. So I wonder if she's maybe not pregnant with her next one. Although the little calves that are around her are quite little still. They probably only around 2 years old. So I suppose it's almost time for her to probably have her next one. But very cute little ones that are there. They've had a bit of a mud wallow recently, and so, oh, are you trying to get over the stump? Well done. Very well negotiated. Watching baby Ellie's trying to negotiate a fallen tree is probably one of the best things to watch in life. I've seen it a few times, and it is hilarious every single time. They don't quite figure it out, and what makes me laugh about it is that often they can just go right past it and around it, but they don't. They choose that they have to climb over it. They have to show everybody that they're able to do it, and it is really quite funny to watch when these little ones do try and get over little stumps and various other things. I always thoroughly enjoy watching little baby Ellies when they do it. So, Dale, the brain of an elephant is very similar to our brain. In fact, it's exactly the same measurement as ours, which is rather large for a mammal. They have brains that are very, very big, and that allows them to be very intelligent animals. And that's why they show so many sort of intelligent signs when they are moving around, and why they're able to do a lot of what they can do, and why they have communication and various other things. So they have very large brains, which allows them to, you know, like I say, be a part of the whole process and to bond as well as they do and to figure things out. In terms of their heart also is pretty large. Forget the exact weight now. I feel like I want to say 24 kilograms, but I think I'm out on that. I'm not 100% sure. I need to double check this. For some reason, I'm drawing an absolute blank, and I don't know why I am currently. I'll think about it, and it'll come to me while we're kind of watching these Ellies. Also, what's distracting me a little bit is there's obviously a hatch of insects that are coming out, because in the distance, there's just all these European rollers that are flying around and hawking off ellets, I think, that are out and about. So some of them are European rollers, some of them are lilac-breasted rollers, but there really are a lot of them flying around in that area. I've counted at least 10 or 11 kind of coming past and moving in this direction. So it's interesting to kind of see. Now, I'll try and kind of work out exactly how heavy the elephant's heart is, because I don't know why I can't think of it right now. It's one of those things that happens as we get older, so our brains don't work very well. And I was talking about an elephant's brain being very big, and it seems as though mine is half the size this afternoon, which I suppose is par for the course. Oh well, it's okay. I'll be old and doddery one day, and everybody will be okay with it. Every day, you say, Kirsty? Thank you very much, Kirsty. So nice of you to say that every day I'm like an old doddery kind of brain that doesn't really know what's going on. See what I deal with here. If it's not only Byron giving me trouble in the mornings, it's Kirsty in the afternoons. Now, at least I've got Fergus. Now, I believe that we've got a little bit of static on my voice and on our audio. I do apologize. Jigger has a issue with this, and so we'll try and kind of sort it out. But while we do that, let's send you back across to Byron and see what he's up to.
Well, I hope Tristan manages to sort out all those technical issues. It's a wonderful sweet smell that I just drove past there now. Very sweet smell. I'm not sure what it would have been from. I didn't see any flowers. I love driving and getting these different scents of the bush, lovely smells, wonderful odors. Not like that of a musty elephant. I'm still just having a look for any signs or tracks of a leopard, but anything else really. You know, that's a wonderful thing with nature and being out in the bush. There's always something to speak about. Rob, I think there has been enough rain to avoid a winter drought. I do think so. The bush is lush and green at the moment. Look, it's definitely going to get drier from June, July, August, September. It's going to get dry. but I don't think it's going to be a serious drought. We definitely haven't had as much rain as we have had in the past, but I think it's been good enough. And also this last bit of rain that we've been having this last week or so has been very good. We had substantial rain, what was it, 2-3 nights ago? So that's good. Just having a look around. So I'm just listening to Tristan giving the other guides an update, just letting them know what is out there this afternoon. So the pride of lions that Ali had, and then letting him know that I'm looking for a male leopard. But I think this is going to be very tough this afternoon. You never know, he could just jump out at any moment. Now leopards do move around a lot more during the day than we think. And especially on cool days like this, leopards would definitely move around a lot more. And Noriko, you say the air out here in Africa and in the wild must be so fresh compared to that of a city. I can't even describe, Noriko, how much fresher it is out here. Clear air. There's no smog, no pollution. It's really wonderful. I notice it when I go back to the city. And driving in, and you can actually see the smog, and you can already that smell gets to you. You can smell the air is different. Alright, Viam, I think we're going to have luck down this road. What do you think? I think we're going to find this leopard somewhere around here, maybe laying on a termite mound. I just got a bug in the eye. That's not very lucky. That's not starting out so well, no. I just want to show you what is something that I've been noticing a lot, which I find so beautiful, is the just these lovely pods on the russet bush willow at the moment. Such a nice color in the midst of all this green. I hope you can see that beautiful reddish brown color. And these trees, but when you're out here, and it's a bit difficult because of the light at the moment, but this tree is covered in these pods. So there's a lot of green around, but then all these wonderful russet or reddish brown pods. Oh, very, very nice. See that? Lovely. Wonderful color. Some flies around. This is so peaceful. You know, and often just driving around like this. Hang on, there's an interesting bird over here. Let's just have a look on the top there. Oh, did it fly? Maybe it comes back, Viam. I wonder, it seemed like it was unhappy about something. Let me see if I can get it for you again. Where is it? Is that it? I think it was a red-backed shrike. I'm not sure. I didn't have a good look. I think it flew off to the right now. Caught a glimpse of a dwarf mongoose. So it's difficult to explain everything that we see. Well, we can explain, but it's a pity we can't show you everything that we pick up, because sometimes it's a quick little glimpse. Where is this bird now? It's disappeared. I think it was a red-backed shrike. I'm not sure. Let me just have a look and see if we can see it again or hear it. It's stopped now. Cenac. I'm not sure what animals feed on those bush willow pods, on that russet bush willow. I'm trying to think if I've seen anything feeding on it. I wonder if maybe the monkeys and baboons don't possibly feed on it. Sinak, for the life of me, I can't think of ever seeing an animal actually feeding on the pods. Other animals like the kudu and the giraffe and all the browsers will feed on the leaves, but I've never seen animals actually feeding on the pods. So maybe ask Tristan and Ali if they've ever seen it. Just thinking off the top of my head. No, I can't remember ever seeing an animal feeding on the pods. Okay, I'm going to look very carefully here. There's a beautiful bird up at the top there. Beautiful lilac-breasted roller. It's always nice to see them around. Oh, there it goes. Now while we stop like this, you definitely pick up on the movement of certain animals, and I wonder if we can try get this on camera with you just to show you how great it is to stop. VM, see where that little open patch of ground is? Straight through the back. Yeah, okay, so if you go up a little bit and down, sorry, just over there, look through there. Little left, other left, there. No, sorry, to the right a bit. There was a Inyala moving through there. Now, I wonder if we'll see it. But there was a male Inyala. I promise you I did see an Inyala, but he's moved. But that's the thing, you stop and you look at birds and then you notice a little bit of movement. I wonder, let's see if Kirst doesn't believe me that there was an Inyala there. There definitely was one. And there's some oxpeckers ahead. That's often a sign that there might be an animal around. Now, that's why I think the oxpeckers are around. See the impala? Straight through there. There we go. So that would make sense why I heard those impala calling. Wow. There's actually a lovely view of the bird that I was looking for earlier. Let me try turn for you, perhaps. It's just up. Hold on. There you go. Can you see it fluttering about to the top there? Now it is a female red-backed shrike. There it goes. Oh, come on, sit nicely for us. Oh, there we go. Well, it's in the top there. You might be able to see it. The light might be a little bit better. There it is. Not a very good view. Birds aren't always easy to spot, but it is a female red-backed shrike. There we go. Mina, you asked how many different types of shrikes do we have in South Africa. Now we do have quite a few. Let me see if I can. But you see they're bush shrikes and they're normal shrikes. Okay, so let me count for you quickly. Okay, this is Southern Africa, Nina. So in Southern Africa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 normal shrikes and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bush shrikes. So about 10 normal shrikes, 5 bush shrikes, and 3 cuckoo shrikes, which are slightly different. But the bush shrikes and the normal shrikes are very closely related. That's a lovely view of the female red-backed shrike. So that is what I saw earlier that I wanted to show you. There's another little bird that we don't see that often. I think it's a grey-headed sparrow up at the top of that dead tree. There we go. Grey-headed sparrow. Well, sometimes with these little birds, these little brown birds, it's not always easy to identify them. You have to look very carefully, and occasionally look at the or listen to the sound. Let me play the call. Let's hear if it sounds similar to that. It does look like a grey-headed sparrow. Yep. Can you hear that? That is the sound that it is making up at the top there at the moment. It is a grey-headed sparrow. Now just getting back to these red-backed shrikes, and they are fascinating birds because they migrate, and they migrate huge distances. I think some of them go to Eastern Europe, some of the red-backed shrikes, which is fascinating for such a little bird. They migrate huge distances. And that's what I was saying again about there always being something out there to speak about. There's always interesting birds. And there's always something happening in the wild. Some nice little pools, mud wallows here. See, now that also makes it difficult to find some of the predators. I'll tell you why. Because they don't have to go to a permanent water source. They can get water anywhere now. Lots of pools of water around, so they can drink as they're moving through the thickets. They don't necessarily have to go to some of the larger dams or water holes. Chinlin, I'll try my best to find some more flowers for you. It is always nice to see the flowers. I was hoping we would see more little lion's eye, that beautiful red flower. I love seeing those. Those are one of my favorites. That often grow along the sides of roads, but I haven't seen one recently. I haven't seen one for ages. I don't think they're flowering this time of year. I think it's usually November, December, January. Maybe we've just missed them, because I do remember seeing a few the other day. Just a beautiful woodland kingfisher. I wonder if it's possibly drinking. Now the woodland kingfisher doesn't actually catch fish, it catches insects. I'm sure most of you know that. But I wonder, occasionally they do bathe. They dive down into the water and they just wet the feathers a little bit and bathe. And then also they need to drink water, so they'll fly down and just scoop up some water. Beautiful color, and very soon these birds are going to migrate too. Just trying to think now. The woodland kingfisher. Oh, there it goes. But they're intra-African migrants, so up to Central and North Africa, that's where they fly. Now, James, which bird has the widest range of diet? Now, I'm trying to think, James, You know, one that pops into my mind quickly is one we spoke about the other day, the Burchell's cuckoo. I'm just going to find it quickly for you. But the cuckoo is definitely one that's got quite a wide range of food. And it actually, how's this? This is great. If you just read here, it says, wide range of prey, including small mammals, insects, reptiles, small birds, and eggs. So a very wide range of food for the Burchell's cuckoo. For those of you who don't know what it looks like, let me just show you if you missed it the other day. That's the Burchell's cuckoo. What else? yeah, I would say that, and trying to think of the rollers quickly, and I'll tell you why I say this. But actually, we've got a lot to speak about regarding this, which is great. The rollers, also quite a wide range. Insectivorous, taking wide variety of locusts, cricket, beetles, but butterflies and lizards. Also small snakes, frogs, birds, and rodents. So that's a huge variety for lilac-breasted roller. And Kirst says she voted lilac-breasted roller. So that roller that we saw earlier, yeah, it's got a wide range of a wide variety in its diet. What else? I mean, if we look at that, the other day we had a African harrier hawk that dug a scorpion out of the bark of a tree. The steppe buzzard, or the common buzzard that killed a scrub hare, was feeding on that. And Kirst was saying, now, what about a hornbill? A hornbill is also a good bet. I'll tell you why. Let's just see what it says here. But I know what I've seen them feeding on. Let's take the southern yellow-billed. So here it says insects, small animals and reptiles, also fruit and seeds. So James, there are a few birds that have got a wide variety of food in their diet that they will feed on. I've seen hornbills catching scorpions, and feeding on fruit, other insects. I think someone saw one catching a rodent. So yeah, it just shows you some of these birds will take whatever is available to them. Very opportunistic, some of them. So there's a few. So I'd say lilac-breasted roller, Burchell's kukul, yellow-billed hornbill. Those are some that I can think of. So it sounds like Tristan and Ali are still having some issues with their feed, unfortunately. Got some technical issues, but I'm sure our very good American friend Jared will be fixing it. Our new tech guy. Well, he's not that new. Jared's been around for a while, but he does wonders. Speaking of tech guys, I'm sure some of you are wondering about Connor. Connor's doing very well. I've seen him a few times in Johannesburg, but he is doing well. Another elephant, young one. And guess what he is feeding on?
Small rodents.
No, VM, not small rodents. Feeding on marula fruit. Smithy, elephants can drink a lot of water during the day. Now it varies. I think if I remember correctly, it can be up to about 50 to 80 liters a day on good hot days where there's lots of water available. I think it can be up to about 50 or 80 liters a day for big elephants. I think that's what it is. That's a lot of water. The trunk can hold between, obviously depending on the size of the elephant, but between 5 and 8 liters of water per sip up in the trunk. So they can drink a lot of water a day. Alright, I think let's move on a little bit. Well, it sounds like Tristan might have fought off some gremlins. Let's go and find out what he is up to and if the problem is fixed.
Well, hopefully the problem is fixed, Byron. It seems to be a recurring theme, but hopefully it's gone and away. We've had to try and cool down the back and get the encoder cooler, and that's how, well, seems to be working, hopefully. But we're sitting with some impalas that are just sort of on an open area at the moment. They were clashing horns for 2 seconds, but it seems as though everything has now died down, although there's another male that's coming in that might trigger them to start playing around a bit. You can see, there we go. So they're starting to kind of get a little bit feisty. The rut is slowly but surely starting to come on, and we're going to see male impalas doing a lot more of these displays where they drop their heads like that, they lick their lips, and they sort of lift their heads as well and try and challenge one another. Now, at this time of the year, it's all going to be fairly sort of playful, and it's not going to be in any way too serious, but it is in preparation for what's about to come. So you see how they start facing off a little bit, drop their heads. That one is marking a bush, so he's got a gland that sits under his eye called a preorbital gland, and that's just to mark and to try and show I'm the dominant individual. And so we're going to see a lot more of that behavior going forward as these guys start getting closer and closer to that rutting period, so they are going to compete a lot more. Now, I was saying there's a third male that came in, so there's a third male who's marking exactly where the other one just marked. So you've got a situation where there's a bush that it seems as though everybody wants to mark together, so they're just leaving that same bush, and those two are still somewhat squaring off. Now watch them lick lick their lips, and there we go, a little head drop every now and then, and they'll raise their heads sometimes as well. So there we go, lick, see that? And then off it goes. So that one I don't think is quite ready to start engaging in any battle just yet. But there we go, there's more marking, same bush. So 3 different male impalas have all marked on that bush, which if it was the rutting season, you would see absolute pandemonium if another male tried that. The male that was in charge and dominant over the females would chase that male very quickly. But in this situation, it's all kind of preparation for when it happens, and there's actually no reason to really be fighting, and so that's why they're not expending too much energy doing it. They're more just kind of watching what's going on. Beautiful examples of impalas, though, both of them. They are very, very pretty boys, and they're going to be a part of the mating for sure. They have nice sets of horns, both of them physically look fairly good. It's obviously most of the impalas are not at their peak condition because it has been dry, but this little rain that we've received now will get most of them into really good condition prior to the rut starting. And then look at that, both of them marking at the same time. So this is the proverbial kind of peeing contest, as they say, between boys. They're both trying to just outdo each other by all marking and showing and giving some sort of display. Right, let's leave our impalas as they disappear into the bushes and away from us. We're going to head down towards Chitwa. Chitwa's just in front of us, so we're going to be crossing onto Chitwa and seeing what's going on there. I haven't got an update on that side just yet. I will try. Oh, there's a big warthog here. Noriko, when the impalas get their horns tangled, you're sort of asking what would happen and what would they do. Well, their horns don't often get tangled. The shape of them means that it's very difficult for impalas to tangle their horns. But if, let's say, hypothetically they did, then they'll just try and move and try and shake their heads as much as possible and try and slip out of it and get rid of it. But sometimes there's cases, particularly in things like kudu, where their horns get jammed together and there's nothing they can do. And what often happens is it either means one breaks the other one's neck, or they can't separate and they die from dehydration and starvation, and then lions get a 2-for-1 meal, or hyenas or leopard, whoever finds those carcasses first. So it does happen sometimes where they do get kind of stuck together, but generally you'll find the animals are able to kind of get their horns out, particularly impalas. Impalas don't have the right shape to really get too stuck. But here is our big warthog friend. I think this is the same one that sits in that den, Gwen's old den. It's the same one we found the other morning, just kind of peering out in the rain. And so this guy hangs around quite a bit. See it at this little mud wallow of Chitwa, and it walks around and kind of roots up for bulbs and tubers and all kinds of other things. It also is very good at just hiding away behind a thicket, isn't it? Sorry, Fergus. It's gone behind a bush, so we'll carry on as well. Seems the animals are all doing a little disappearing act today. I wonder where that Hukumuri male has gone. He has got to be the hardest leopard to relocate in the afternoons. We seem to find him a lot in the mornings, and then in the afternoons he becomes an absolute nightmare to be able to find. We really struggle to be able to find him in the afternoons, and so he seems to just kind of not sit still. That's maybe the problem, and with the roads being as hard as they are at the moment, it makes tracking incredibly difficult. But hopefully Byron will find him somewhere, maybe a little alarm call or some sort of indication of where he is might spark Byron to find him there somewhere moving about. Right, now I do need to announce my presence on Chitwa. We don't want to be unannounced and also don't want to bump into any sightings. One needs to look right and left before crossing a main road. Also don't want to be T-boned by a massive truck. That will be a little unfortunate. Yeah, Pick and Pay truck will not be nice to be hit by, although at least you'll get hit by a whole bunch of food. After station's getting mobile in the east. Can I get an update, please? So there we go. Now we've just told everyone we're around. I'm just interested to see how full this little pan is. So I'm sure a lot of you have been inquiring or wondering about pans and thinking about how full they all are. So this is a pan that we know Hosana spends a bit of time at. We've seen Thandi and Thamba here. We saw Kruger here a few times as well, and this is absolutely full. It was dry a few weeks ago before that big rain, and now it's filled up quite nicely. What amazes me though is I would have thought there would have been far more foam nests in this particular section. There's only just the 3 that I can see at the moment that are just off the water surface, but really good positioning of these foam nests. Whoever built these foam nests is a clever frog, because the chances of those tadpoles landing on dry land is pretty much 0. So very nice that it's been built there. A little bit of a reflection action, nice and artsy, Fergus. Very, very, very good. I like it. And so there we go, lots and lots of foam. And you can see there's an old foam nest in there, so that's the brown one that's hanging kind of in between the 2 big white ones. And so that's an old kind of decrepit, dried out nest, and then you've got the 2 bright white ones that are from this recent rain. So probably find the old one is from the rain before, which was, I can't even remember now, it must have been over a week or 2 weeks prior to those new ones being built. So it just shows how long they last for. They don't last too long, and especially if it gets really hot, then those foam nests disintegrate and deteriorate quite fast. Still very nice to look at though, and very pleasant. There's a woodland kingfisher also calling about. So I know Byron was chatting about birds with the widest diet. I would say woodland kingfisher must be one of them. They have a really varied diet. They go after all kinds of things. I've seen them eating mice, bats, centipedes, and all kinds of different insects and arthropods. And so they go after a lot of different things, and they feed a lot on all kinds of random stuff. Now, Kirst, my comms are not great. Just give me 2 seconds because my earpiece is being funny. Do I need to link to somebody, Fergus? I can carry on. Excellent. As I was. Ah, there we go, Kirsty. Now I can hear you. Now, I don't want to be linking to anyone if I'm not supposed to. Manu, they could hear a Koki Franklin. So Manu is obviously watching from Kenya, if I'm correct. And Manu could hear a Koki Franklin. Yes, well done, Manu. There is a Koki Franklin. Not the same Manu. Ah. I thought Manu was in Kenya watching, but is Manu on leave? I think Manu's on leave, but anyway, Manu, who did hear the Koki Franklin, well done. There was a Koki Franklin calling in the background as well. Good. I'm going to get down to Chitwa. I just want to try and get an update because no one actually answered me. They ignored me. And while I get an update, let's send you back across to Byron and find out where he's checking and whether he's got anything for Hukumuri yet.
Oh, there's another one here. Now, we found 2 interesting birds, Tristan. 2 cuckoos, a Jacobin and the Levalence cuckoo together. Now, I'm just trying to see where the Jacobin flew off this side and the Levalence flew the other way. But it was great. We had both in one tree. Let me just see if we can find them again. Hold on. Seems to be a bit of a bird party going on here. Let's just have a look. Oh, there's it was in that tree. It was in that tree. Where did it go? I think it's gone into that marula. Hold on. And there's a lot up here. What's going on here? Oh, look. Oh, what is this? That's Wahlberg's eagle. Yeah. I think I can hear the other one. Look at that, beautiful. Now I wonder, it was down on the ground. I wonder what it was eating. Oh, there's the other one. Where did they go? Hold on. Let me just have a look. Shannon, you asked if bird feathers are waterproof. They do deflect a lot of the water, but I wouldn't say completely waterproof. You can see birds with wet feathers often trying to sun themselves to dry the feathers. So I'm just having a look where these birds have gone. Where did they go? They just flew off. Let's just have a look here quickly. See if we can find them. Up at the top. There we go. There we go. You can see clearly quite a light Wahlberg's eagle. That's nice. There were two. I'm not sure where the other one. Maybe the other one's in there too somewhere. Or further on. I think I see it in another tree. Further down. Now, what I'm going to do actually is just go back and have a look at what they were possibly feeding on. But just have a look at just with these images. Oh, there goes the other one. Yeah, that one's much darker. You can see. There it goes. Well done, Viam. Let me try and move forward a little bit. Might get a better view through there, maybe. Let's just try there. I think it might be past the branches now. There, there it goes. There it goes. There are a few here. There are a few. There's like 3 of them now. And I think this one at the top might just be a youngster that we can hear calling. That one's landed over there. And 2. Do you see that? Oh, this is interesting. I'm just going to play the call quickly because this one was calling, just so you can hear it. That's the exact sound. That's the exact sound that that one was making. I wouldn't be surprised if this might just be a youngster. I think it is an immature one. Oh, there's a huge amount of birds around at the moment. There's a beautiful view of the little white-crowned helmet shrikes that are flying around. There they go. They've flown off now. There's a lot. Oh, there it goes. Oh, look at that. Wow. Sure, Vim. There we go. Wonderful. I wonder. Oh, you know what? I think there's some alates that are flying around, and all these birds are catching them at the moment. Has that one got one in his mouth? It does. There we go. So that's why, and that's what I was going to say. I wanted to go and have a look where this eagle took off from, because I'm almost certain there's some alates that are coming out of the ground, those winged termites, and that's what has attracted all these birds. That's possibly why even the cuckoos were here. I wonder. Let me go forward a little bit. Let's have a look. Okay, I'm going to check around here quickly. Let's go to Tristan, who's got a hornbill feeding on termites at the moment.
I do have hornbills that are busy also feasting upon the alates that are around at the moment. So they're moving about and kind of coming out of this mound, and this red-billed hornbill is having a field day. As one comes out, it just grabs it and tosses it down into the belly, which is very, very cool to see. So it's quite fun watching them just going about their business and doing their thing. There's also a yellow-billed hornbill that is in the area, so it's not just the one that is doing it. It's both species that are here, and it seems as though all the birds this afternoon are enjoying their winged alates snacks that they are getting. It's a very rich protein source, and so perfect for hornbills to just sit, and it doesn't take much effort. They literally just sit on top of the mound, and as they come out, they feast off them. Now what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and just roll forward so we can maybe get a better view of the yellow-billed that is feeding on the back side there. Cecilia, you're asking about beaks and bills and whether there's a difference between the two of them. So no, it's just a difference in terminology more than anything else. Sorry, Fergus. It's flown away. as I released my brake, it went away. So beaks and bills, I mean, you can call any bird has a beak or a bill. I suppose bills, generally are referred to wading animals. So animals that have quite long, straight beaks are generally referred to as bills. But I mean, you wouldn't be shot if you said a beak on any of the different birds that we get out here. So yeah, I mean, I don't know of an exact structural difference. Right, now I'm going to cross the Mulawanini and check what else is happening on Chitwa. While I do that, let's send you back across to Byron and his bird party.
There's a lot of birds feeding on these alates at the moment. There is it's actually an African hoopoe. There we go. Beautiful bird. Very, very beautiful bird. But there's, flying around us at the moment, there are starlings, the white-crowned helmet shrikes. I saw red-billed buffalo weavers, fork-tailed drongos. There goes a cuckoo. Just flew past. So the cuckoos are here too. They're all catching these little alates at the moment. There was another cuckoo. I think it was. I want to try get a nice view of a cuckoo for you. Hold on. I think they're around the back here. Give me a second. Let's just try reposition. There was also a rather large bird which has just moved. It was a brown snake eagle, which unfortunately just disappeared. Maybe it's around somewhere. Hold on, let me just reposition around this side, because there was a cuckoo that did fly down here. Oh, look, wow, okay, there it is. Straight ahead. It's a Levalent cuckoo. Now you can see it quite clearly. Beautiful. Oh. All taking off. Do you see what I'm saying? I think there are a lot of alates here. I think that's what all these birds are feeding on. This is wonderful. This is really, really great. Hornbills, drongos, everything. Okay, let's go across to Ellie quickly. I'm going to watch these birds for a while.
Well, we have been fighting the gremlins off, at least trying, but it's been a fortunate event because I think this is a half-trunk herd, which is very exciting. I haven't seen this particular female in a while, so I'm very excited to see her and just being able to catch up with her. So it is this one that's over here, the one whose beautiful bottom we're admiring right now. And hopefully she'll lift her trunk at some point and we'll be able to see that she's missing the tip of her trunk. Now, sometimes that happens because of an animal injury or perhaps another animal biting the tip of the trunk off, but more common than not, it happens due to snares. Unfortunately, in the national parks and certain reserves, we still have many poachers, and they lie snares not necessarily for elephants, but for other smaller creatures. However, sometimes the elephant's trunk go in the places that they shouldn't be going, and that's why they get caught in the snares and end up losing part of their trunks. Hello. 1, 2, 3. You definitely look like the half-trunk herd, judging by how many there are. And now all of them around the marula tree, as elephants do during the summertime, just sniffing and vacuuming up all the marulas. Roxy, baby elephants normally start eating solids or grass and branches and trees from 3 months onwards, because at roughly that age, then the mother's milk is not enough to sustain them. However, they will carry on suckling until they're about 2 years old or so. Now, we saw a small elephant, I would say probably around a year, 2 years old, and it was already eating marulas a few days ago. So I reckon just as long as, or as soon as they manage to master the use of their trunk, which takes them about a year to be able to pinpoint things on the ground and just being able to pick them up and putting them on their mouth, I suppose that that's roughly when the elephants would start eating them, because the little ones, often it's almost like they cheat, and then you'll see them biting the trees directly with their mouths rather than they're breaking them with their trunks. And even when they go down for a drink, they'll go onto their knees to try and get some water. I'm gonna try go around. Hopefully the gremlins will stay clear of us for the next little while. But if we do that, it seems like we are gonna get lucky with the second pride of lions for the day.
We are indeed. So we've caught up with the Styx pride, who's just sitting right there, taking it very easy at the moment. You can see some of the little cubs having a bit of a nap, and everybody is fairly relaxed. Now, I believe my audio is not good again, so we'll send you back to Byron while we try to sort it out. See you just now.
Alright, well, hopefully Tristan manages to sort it out. There's another cuckoo behind us. But, sorry, Viam, I know you had, but there's a lovely view of the Jacobin on this dead tree just to the left. There we go. There is a Jacobin cuckoo. Now, I just saw something very interesting, which is a first for me. There is a Jacobin cuckoo flying around here that has the dark morph. So it's actually completely black, bar the white markings on the wings. It's flying around here, so I'm hoping I can show you. I think it was just around the corner. Wait, is that it? No, that looks like a Levalent. A little bit bigger. Yeah, that's a Levalent. Levalent cuckoo is a slightly larger cuckoo compared to the Jacobin. Let's see if that other one comes back here. See, they're all feeding. I think they're all feeding on these alates. It's a nice view of the Levalent cuckoo. This is just so exciting. There's so many birds here. It's wonderful. Oh, VM. I'm sorry to do this. The black dark morph of the Jacobin cuckoos behind us. Hopefully it stays there. Can you see it, everyone? Oh no, there it is, just to the left of that. Can you see it there? Oh, well done, VM. Look at that. See? Completely dark, just with the white markings on the wing. Now this is a Jacobin cuckoo, but it's the dark morph, which I've never seen before. But I have heard about this. That is really cool. That is something different. Wow. I'm really enjoying this birding that we're doing here. Oh, well done, Viam. Thanks very much. Can you still see him? Ah, there he is. There's a nice view of him. No, that's a normal one. See, that's a normal one. Ah, there it goes. There's the Levalent cuckoo. Wow. So both Jacobin and Levalents here. Red-billed buffalo weavers, the fork-tailed drongos, some Wahlberg's eagles feeding on the alates. There was the hornbills. Hi everyone, hello. Wahlberg's eagles. What else did I say? Oh yes, there's white-crested helmet strikes. So loads of birds around here at the moment. That was wonderful. Oh, really cool. See, you never know what you're going to bump into, but something like this, especially for a birder, is lovely. Alright, well, it sounds like Ellie has managed to ward off some of the gremlins, and her signal's working in, and she's back with that pride of lions. Let's go and see if they're still lying down resting.
Very exciting that we managed to fight the gremlins up, and for a moment I thought maybe Byron was going to be the only one that was going to be able to fight them off for us, but it seems like the tech team has managed to help us once more, and now we can enjoy the company of all of the lions. Now they have moved a little bit, and there are some elephants not too far. So a half-trunk herd is not too far from here, and there's another herd of elephants just to the east of us. So these lions are actually sandwiched in between smaller herds of elephants, but they are still at a distance, so I don't think the elephants are going to be coming this way. Although if there's anything that we've learned in the past few days, that elephants can run very quickly and they can just make their way onto certain areas. Now, the lions don't look particularly worried about the elephant noises. Some of them sort of put their heads up when they heard the elephants trumpeting in the distance, but I think overall they're not too worried. Doesn't seem like the elephants are coming this way, so they can carry on napping. I think there's a little bit of unrest. Some of them are swapping positions, and it almost seems like there are two females at the back, but I don't know if we're going to be able to see them from the angle that we're in, that have got their heads up. Yeah, there we go. Well done, Senzo. So two of the adults are facing in that direction, but funny enough, that's not the direction where the elephants were trumpeting. So I'm wondering what else they're hearing, or what else they can hear from that particular spot. Perhaps there's another running warthog. What did you hear? So this is the lioness that has got the injury on her hip, but that's taken a while, but it's definitely been healing the last few months, which is good, because initially when we first saw it, we were a little bit worried about her, but just proves that a lot of the times lions can survive on their own. Well, not a lot of the times, all the time. All they have to do is keep their wounds clean, and that seems to help a lot with their healing process. Now, she's decided to go off, and I thought maybe she was just going to move to find a new spot where to lie in. But she's still moving. I think she's investigating what the elephants are trying to do. So I'm going to go back a little bit just to have a look at her. Maybe if she carries on moving, she'll get the rest of the pride going with her. I'm just going to back a little bit. Not too much, so that we don't get in the way. Hi guys. No, maybe she's hungry and she's feeling like elephant tonight. Seems like perhaps the reason why she came all the way here was just to attend to some biological needs. So sometimes lions can be polite that way. They step away from the main herd to do their business, to urinate or defecate. I think also because half of the time it's really stinky, so there's nothing as stinky as lion dung, really. But perhaps it was a mix of things, wanting to stretch a little bit, finding out what the elephants were up to, why they were trumpeting close to them, but also get all of this going. Everybody's saying that the lions look very hungry. Well, I think it's getting to that point where they're just gonna try and hunt and hunt. It's a big part of lions, so even if they manage to bring smaller things down, and I think they often do, and we just don't see them, they need something bigger to be able to sustain such a big pride. I mean, all these youngsters, I think they will probably be happy with an impala each. So sometimes it takes them a while to be able to get a very good full meal. I do think that they survive on smaller things. But just judging by the way her stomach is going in on the side of her hip, I reckon that these guys were definitely counting on their buffalo meal. But you guys are going to have to walk a little bit far if you're still interested in buffalo. I don't think you'll be that interested in elephant meal. Well, you know. Wonder what she's thinking. Maybe she just wants to step away from everyone else and find a new place to rest. Yep. Seems like that was part of the reason. Now she's far away from everybody else, but she's still keeping an eye as to where those elephants were, so we'll see if she actually goes to sleep in a little bit. And I'm trying to keep an eye out, see if perhaps the elephants are coming around or if they've spotted the lions, but I don't think they have. I think the elephants were just fighting amongst themselves, perhaps a mom telling one of the little ones just to stand still and behave. But she's definitely looking in that direction. The females that had their heads up earlier on, now they've gone back to sleep. So I think lions are sorted for a while. I don't think they'll get up and go for the hunt just yet. Perhaps a little bit later. Curtis, the local name that we use for the lions in this area is Shangaan. Shangaan is the local language, and the name that we use for the lion is Ngala. So often when we call them in on the radio, we have to speak a mix of English and Shangaan. And when we call them in, instead of saying, we have found a pride of lions or we have found lions, a lot of the times you will hear us say that we have found Ngala. Just out of protocol and procedures that are imposed by different reserves. Some reserves don't really matter or don't really care if you call them in English, and some reserves prefer that you use the local languages for it. And in terms of a pride of lions, then we would call them Ashlambi, which should be the name for pride. Byron is enjoying the birding today, and I think he's had some wonderful sightings, so let's head back to him, see what else he's found.
I have, Tristan. And we just had a common buzzard, and I think that's what that squirrel is alarm calling at. Let me see if you can hear him quickly. Hold on. You might be able to hear him. There we go. The chattering alarm call of a squirrel. Some grey hornbills flying past, they were whistling. So the common buzzard was sitting up in a tree behind us, but it flew off. But I think that's what that squirrel is still alarm calling at. They tend to get quite paranoid if there's a bird of prey around, and rightfully so. I mean, yesterday we saw a common buzzard with a scrub hare kill. So a little squirrel would also be a meal for one of those buzzards. Well, Tristan seems to be having a bit of luck now. He has managed to find a pride of lions.
I have indeed, Byron. So we're still with the Styx Pride. We're trying to sort out our audio, but we have to kind of keep powering down and up to be able to get it right. So hopefully it won't start its nonsense again. But the Styx Pride is all fairly relaxed at the moment. Everybody's taking it quite easy. I wonder if they're not going to get up and move fairly early tonight. There's a lioness that's kind of got to head up. The cubs have been fairly busy already. They've been up and down. Lots of grooming has been taking place, and so I wonder if they're going to be moving. I was speaking to some of the guys. They were saying this morning that these guys were walking quickly and with purpose, and then all of a sudden they just lay down. So I wonder if they're also not interested in some sort of buffalo that might be north of us. In Torchwood, I know that the buffalo came out of that area, and so there could be some male buffalo that are hanging around that side, and that's why the Styx are heading that way. But they definitely, I mean, they're not looking horrific, but they still are showing signs of mange, and so not quite as pretty as our Nkuhumas. The Nkuhumas look a lot better than what the Styx do at the moment, but you can see that male in particular doesn't look that fantastic, or sorry, the old female doesn't look that fantastic at all, and the male as well behind it. So they've got a few kind of sort of wounds and scabs that have come out from the mange, but hopefully with this rain that's going to calm things down massively, and they'll be able to come back from that. It looks really bad, but they can overcome it as long as they get food and the rains keep going for a little bit longer. They should be okay. Now it's interesting, I was just counting the number of lions here. So we've got the 3 adult females, and then there were 4 young cubs. One of the young cubs was unfortunately found dead a few weeks ago on the Mala Mala boundary. They don't know what happened to it, so it unfortunately has died. And then there's the 2 older individuals, and then there were 4 mid-sized ones, which I can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 are here. So it's in total we have the sort of all the pride bar that little one that's no longer with us. So I don't know how many in the pride in total now. 1, 2, 3, 7, 9, 12. So there's 12 in the Styx Pride now, same as the Nkuhumas, 12 and 12, which is pretty good. But like I say, the Nkuhumas definitely look far better off than what the Styx do at the moment. And A little bit fuller as well. The Styx females look like they could do with a meal, that's for sure. This little cub is trying to suckle, but mom is having absolutely none of it. She keeps kicking the little cub away. And it's funny to watch because the cub then starts to growl at mom, and mom is just having none of it. So she's just keeps pushing this little one and saying, you will not have anything. So it's been fun to watch this pride, and it's always good to see the Styx. They like old friends. It's a pride that I've spent a lot of time with over the years, and when I worked at Chitwa, this was the pride that we used to look for the most, down on the southern boundary of Chitwa and towards sort of Hofmans and Little Garian vessels. And then we used to find them as far as Simamili and Elephant Plains, Arethusa, often at times, and so it's always good to have them around. Now, I'm going to spend a little longer with these lions, and then we're probably going to have to make space for some others. And while I spend a bit longer with them, let's send you back across to Ali, who sounds like she's about to have a Big Five showdown.
Well, I'm not too sure if we will, but trying to get out of the way, as in because there's a big herd of elephants coming down the road, so they're all coming along there. And now you see the lioness that was close to the rose that was lying there. She's now gone back to where the rest of the pride is, and the rest of the pride has got their heads up, but the elephants have definitely kept coming. So I wonder if maybe they're going to be chasing the lions, or if they're just going to carry on moving. Let's just see. Welcome everyone to South Africa. We are busy watching a herd of elephants that's unsuspectingly walking on the road, and about 5 meters from them there's a whole pride of lions that's just watching them through the bushes. Now it is very incredible to see them all around here, and there's a little one chasing after the lions. There we go. Now I think I'm going to try and move the vehicle slightly just so that we're able to see the lions a little bit better. Now, hello, elephant. Sorry, guys. Just want to get out of your way more than anything else. And it seems like there are even more elephants coming down the road. So, we are not the lions, guys. I think some of them have realized that the wrong way to go is just to our left where the lions are. And some of them have carried on going onto this particular way. So my name is Ali, and on camera with me is Sanzo. If you've got any comments, please feel free to send them through using the comment section below. Now, the elephants have chosen to go in 2 different ways. The biggest female, and I think probably the matriarch that was trying to defend her herd, or just make sure that nothing happened with the lions, was the one that walked in between us and the lions. And she deliberately chose to walk that way, and I think just to make sure that the lions weren't going to try any funny business. Now these 2 elephants that are walking behind us, these are 2 young boys, and they seem to have gotten a little bit lost as the rest of the herd is just further down the road. Hello. Sorry, there are some lions over there in case you haven't seen them. I think he was a little bit more concerned with us than with anything else. But the lions, they have gone from completely asleep, and it's a pride of about 13 of them. They've gone from being very, very flat on their sides, not even paying attention to the rest of the world, to all of them simultaneously raising their heads and keeping an eye out on the elephants that were coming here. Now we've got one last boy coming along. And in this particular area of the world, or in this particular area of southern Africa, we don't really have prides of lions that hunt elephants. They specialize, or they tend to specialize in other creatures. But if they had to go for any elephant, it would be something like this one, a young bull that is far away from the rest of the herd, and a pride of 13 lions could potentially bring it down. However, because the rest of the elephant herd is not too far, just one distress call from this elephant would send all of the other females marching this way. There we go, you're carrying something. And I'm surprised they haven't actually noticed the amount of lions that are watching them. The lions are sitting very still. Perhaps you're going to chase them. Katrina, yes, everything makes... Imagine having a full hungry pride of lions watching you. That will certainly make everyone's heart skip maybe more than one beat. And I think the lions are also a little bit on the worried side, as they've now started to move a little bit backwards, or the females, the adults that are the ones that are able to calm their nerves a little bit more, have actually just stood very, very still. The ones that we're looking at now, those are some of the youngsters. And I think they're still a little nervous. Probably haven't had as many encounters in their lifetime with elephants as the females have. Joe, there are no big male lions with this pride at this particular time, just the sub-adults. The males that tend to walk around with the Nkuhuma pride, which is the pride of lions that we're looking at, are the Birmingham boys. It's a coalition of 4, and they are not spending the time with them at the moment. They are with some of the females of some of the other prides. Now, it seems like there's another elephant coming down the road. Some of the lions have decided that there's nothing to worry about and gone back to sleep. I think we've got one final one just all the way down there. Now it also seems to be a youngster, and I wonder if it's going to carry on coming or if it's going to go down the road, or if it's going to ignore the lions entirely. There's a lot of rumbling going on, and I can just hear it faintly. It's the way that the lions communicate, the elephants communicate, probably to try and let each other know that there are lions around and that they should be careful, and probably also to try and get the young ones to move away as quickly as possible, because, well, you don't really want to leave anything a chance, and lions, if they're very hungry, they can be unpredictable creatures. Now I've got one more, seems like a bull coming down here, and walking with a lot of determination. So let's see if maybe it does spot the lions, or if it's just going to veer off the road like the rest of the family has. It seems like for now it's going to decide to go straight on the road. Rangel, I would reckon at least 20 very big lions to try and bring down a very big elephant bull. Elephant bulls are amongst the strongest creatures, and lions should be very careful when they try to approach them by any means. Now, this is still a young bull, and you see he's already challenging the lions, raising his head, making his ears a little bit more open, just to try and intimidate them a little bit. But poof, there we go, walking a little bit quicker, just to make sure that the lions don't try anything. We will stay with the pride of lions to see what else they get on and do this afternoon. But if you want to carry on watching, you can just find us googling #SafariLive. Probably without the hashtag. Right, we are back onto our action, or lack of action. I think they're looking a little bit grumpy, and perhaps for a second they even thought about coming across to investigate what the elephants were doing. But I would assume that due to experience, the females also thought that it was a lot better just to keep some safe distance, and just also let the elephants know that they didn't mean any trouble. And we had 2 females that were looking at the elephants walking down the road, and as soon as they saw that big female, they decided to go all the way back and hide and just stand very still in the background. I don't think the rest of the lions have carried on moving, and I think just maybe 1 or 2 of them are still looking in the direction where the elephants were, and the rest of them have just pretty much gone back to sleep. So it's amazing, and both elephants and lions are fairly aware of what each other's strengths are, and so the elephants were slightly nervous of the lions when they were walking down the road, and the little ones decided then to veer off and just move away from the lions, just to not leave anything a chance. But then the lions, no doubt, have encounters with elephants where they've been chased, so they also decided that it was probably better just to move off and give them some space. Try and avoid conflict altogether for both species. Now you're looking like you're almost getting ready to go back to sleep. I wonder which way you guys are gonna... You can hear the elephants trumpeting in the distance. And who knows, maybe they'll bump into Hukumuri. They seem to be headed in the direction where he was left this morning. So I wouldn't be surprised if the elephants actually had a very stressful afternoon bumping from predator to predator. Now that was interesting. There are so many elephants in Djuma at the moment, and I don't doubt because there's a lot of greenery, a lot of puddles where they can come and drink, that they've all been hanging around this particular area. So other creatures are bound to bump into them, and it's been everywhere you go you'll find elephants. And just like we go through these periods where there are elephants everywhere, then also we go through periods where elephants are the hardest thing to find, because they're constantly on the move. So at this time of the year, because they have so much water and food around them, or they have so many options, and perhaps they can spend more time in certain areas, they don't have to walk as far as they would in the dry season, and then they seem to prefer certain areas. So we've been lucky, we've been seeing some of the same ones in the last few days, so it's also good to catch up with them and see what they've been up to. Seems like all of the lions have now decided to go back to sleep, so let's head to Byron, who would like to welcome the schools.
And a big warm welcome to Salem Middle School, who's joining us this afternoon for our school drive. It's great to have you. Now, please don't forget we are live, so ask your teachers to send their questions through and we'll happily answer them. You're joining us at a great time because there's been a lot going on. Now, this afternoon we've had a lot of wonderful birds that we've seen. We've seen a lot of elephant, and there are 2 prides of lions. Now, Ali and Tristan, who you will meet shortly, are out at the moment, and they are with the prides of lions. Myself and Wiem are driving around, having a look for any sign of a leopard. We're trying to find a leopard this afternoon. No luck just yet, but I'm holding thumbs. I'm sure we're going to have some luck a little bit later. It's getting a bit cooler now. There's more chance of that leopard moving around. It was a leopard that we saw this morning, but we left him in some really thick bush and he moved, so we were unable to stay with him. But maybe he does pop out a little bit later, so I'm hoping so. But he could be anywhere right now, so chances of seeing him are not very good, but we will try our best. I'm also looking for other little creatures, just anything interesting that we can show you. And some of the things that we find on a safari, sometimes daily, sometimes once in a while. Speaking of something interesting, Tristan would like to say good afternoon to you, and he's got something very interesting to show you.
Indeed, I would love to say good afternoon, so it's a very warm welcome to Salem Middle School. I hope that you are having a wonderful day and that you are going to love the fact that we are sitting with the pride of lions. So it's a very, very cool way to start our afternoon with you, and I hope that you're going to ask me lots and lots of questions about the lions that are lounging on the road at the moment. It is a situation where they're all a little bit sleepy. Now, as Byron mentioned, my name is Tristan. On camera today I've got Fergus. There we go. And we are live in South Africa, which means we are interactive. So like I said, lots and lots of questions from you. Just give them to your teacher and we will try and answer as many as possible. Now, this is one of the prides that we find more on our southern side of where we drive around, and they're known as the Styx pride. And in this pride are 3 adult females, and then there are 2 larger cubs that are well over a year old, and then there are 4 middle cubs that are close to a year old, and then there are 3 small little cubs that are about 5 to 6 months old. There you can see some of the small ones sleeping on one of their siblings and taking it very easy at the moment. Isn't that the cutest little thing that's having a little nap? Now, lions are animals that do spend a lot of time sleeping, and they normally sleep around the daylight hours, and the reason why they sleep during the day is because these animals are very, very active at night. So they move a lot during the night, they are hunting and trying to find food, and so during the day it's time to rest and to try and sleep because it gets very hot here in Africa. And so for them to walk around in the middle of the day when the sun is shining and it's very hot means that we have a situation where, you know, they're going to unfortunately then get very warm and it's going to be uncomfortable. So they try to use the hot part of the day to rest, and then at night is when they're going to go out and they're going to go start hunting. And this pride normally will try and hunt Things like buffalo. So buffalo is a big animal out here, and for this pride that would be a massive meal. It would allow all of them to be able to get the food that they need in order to survive. But because there's only 3 females, a buffalo is a very difficult animal to bring down, and so you find that this pride sometimes will go after smaller things like wildebeest, or even some of the antelopes like impala or kudu, which are a similar size to the deer that you see in North America. So that's what they normally go after. The cubs are too small to help with hunting at the moment, so it's just the adult females that are hunting and trying to find the food. So the 3 females are busy. It keeps, to try and keep all of these males fed takes a lot of energy, and so that's why everybody's having a bit of a nap. What you can see, though, from them is when they sleep is that they sleep very close together. You see how some of them are lying on top of each other. They kind of lie in contact with one another. And the reason why they lie like that is just to keep the bond in the pride very, very strong. So what they're trying to do is make sure that no matter what happens, if they split apart because of hunting or that they get broken apart because of males, that they all know each other very well. And they do that by lying next to each other, sniffing each other, and just kind of bonding with one another and getting to know each other. Luke, yes, the lions could very well hunt a giraffe. Some of the lions out here do hunt giraffe quite often, and this pride not so much, because the 3 lionesses, it's a lot of work to hunt a giraffe, and giraffe are very, very big, and these lionesses, just the 3 of them, is a very big ask to pull down a giraffe. The other pride that we see in this area, the Nkuhuma pride, they have 5 females, and if the 5 females are together with some of the males that we have 4 dominant males, and if the 4 dominant males are with the 5 females, then a giraffe is very definitely a possibility. The thing is, though, in this particular section of South Africa, is that we have more buffalo than we have giraffe at times. And so these prides have grown up and learned how to hunt buffalo more than they have giraffe. In other places in Africa where there's more giraffe than there are buffalo, those lions are very good at hunting giraffe. And there's very different technique that is used to hunt buffalo or giraffe. And so that means that these lions aren't very good at hunting giraffe. It's not to say that they can't, but they're just not very good at it. So they prefer hunting buffalo than hunting giraffes. Giraffe is a very dangerous animal to hunt. You wouldn't think so, because obviously it doesn't eat meat, and it's not very dangerous to people, but they can kick incredibly hard, and if a lioness gets too close and it gets kicked by a giraffe, it can get killed. And so it's a situation where you've got to be a little bit careful. Well, they've got to be a bit careful, not us as people. But isn't this cool how chilled they are? You can see that they're just having a really good relaxation at the moment. They're taking it very easy, and I don't think that they're going to move too much just yet. I think they're waiting for the sun to go down, for it to get a little darker before they decide to start standing up and trying to move around and maybe go and look for a meal. They do need a meal at the moment. They are quite skinny, which means that they're looking for food, and I'm sure tonight they're going to be hunting a lot. With the cloud cover that we've got, it's very good conditions for them to be hunting this evening, so it's something to look forward to. Now, you may also notice with a lot of these lions is that they look like they've got lots and lots of scars on them. Now, those are not scars at all. Those are, I suppose they are scars in a way. They basically scabs, or areas where these lions have scratched too much. And the reason why they've got this is because they have a parasite on them at the moment called mange. Now, mange is a type of mite, and there are mange mites that live on all of us. It's a naturally occurring thing, and with the lions they get them a lot. And the reason why they get it is because they went through a period when it was very, very dry, and mange mites, when it's dry, can populate and breed, and lots more of them come out, and that means that they then start to go onto the lions and they feed off the lion's skin cells, and the lions then get very itchy as the mites move around on their skin, and that causes them to scratch. And so as they scratch, they pulling off fur, and that's why they get these kind of scars on their faces. But because we've had a bit more rain recently, we're going to have a situation where these lions should start getting better, and the mite should start to die down, and they will get better from it. Right, while our lions still sleep and we wait for them to wake up, I'm going to send you back to my friend Byron, who is at the moment sitting with the largest land animal we have here.
Well, one of my favorite animals too, Tristan, a beautiful elephant. Now, at the moment, these elephants are really enjoying themselves. I'll tell you why. There's a tree called a marula tree, and there's that big tree next to that elephant, and they all have fruit at the moment, and I'll try to show you one of the fruits shortly. But the elephant are feeding on all these marula fruit. You'll see, there we go, there are the fruit. You might see the trunk come and pick up some of the fruit, and they love feeding on it. Elephant feed on a variety of vegetation, plants, or mainly grass and leaves of trees and some bark. But this time of year, when all the marulas are fruiting, the elephants love it, and they feed on this fruit constantly. You can see just picking up a lot of the fruit. Wonderful to see these magnificent animals walking through the bush, and generally very peaceful. As long as you don't disturb them too much, the elephants are happy and they'll go on their business. Those trunks are amazing. Thousands of little muscles within that trunk, very powerful, but can even pick up some of the smallest objects, like these little fruit. And trunks are used to drink water, help feed, so play a vital role in the elephant's life. Very important. And while this elephant is standing here, more and more fruit keep dropping from the tree. Dylan, you are asking how big these elephants can get. Well, the African elephant is the largest of the elephant species. There are Asian elephants too, and forest elephants in Africa. But this African elephant is the largest, and they can get up to, in terms of height, they can get to about 3 or 4 meters tall, and they can weigh up to about 5 or 6 tons. The really big males, 5 or 6 tons, which is huge. That is a very, very big male. This is a young one that we're looking at now. It's probably only about 2.5 meters tall, I would say. So it can still grow quite a bit, maybe a little more, but will still grow quite a bit more and get a lot heavier. Now, Alison, elephants don't necessarily sleep for very long. They rest a lot during the day, but standing up. However, most of the time they are feeding. Most of the day consists of feeding and drinking water. They need a lot of food to keep that big body going. Elephants have been known to sleep maybe an hour or 2 a day. That's about it, on average. The rest of the time they're moving around, and they don't often lie down. Only sometimes. We actually saw an elephant this morning on our sunrise safari, a young elephant lying down. And resting, but some of the younger ones, sometimes I'll only do that for a very short period of time. All right, well, let's go back across to Ali now, who has got another pride of lions she wants to show you.
We do. We have another pride of lions, and we're watching the smallest one of that entire pride of lions. This little one is the youngest of all the 13 lions that we are sitting with, and you can see that he's in quite a all the way there. Very warm welcome to all of you at Salem Middle School. Very happy to have you all on board. My name is Ali, and on camera with me today is Senzo. So we've been spending the afternoon with this beautiful pride of lions. They are very, very sleepy. I don't think they're going to be moving all that much during their... Again, there have been elephants walking by, and we've been watching the lions. They put their heads up very quickly when the elephants come by, and then once the elephants leave and don't do anything to them, then they go back down and carry on sleeping for a little while. But funny enough, the little one is the least worried one of them all. He doesn't even put his head up when the elephants come close or start looking in the direction of the elephants, of the lions. Beautiful little one. Look at you. Oh, getting up. Now, I'm sorry, I can't move to try a clear view. I'm going to have to try and see through the sticks hiding, because they've chosen spot. That he's going to move his head into just an angle. Oh, big yawn for a little one. He's going to move into a place that will allow us to see it a little bit better. He's very cute, isn't it? Very, very pretty face. Jenny, lions hunt many different things. So they go, if it's a big pride like this one, they will go for animals like buffalo, very big, and allow them to eat for a very long time. They will also eat different antelope species. So we have the antelopes are creatures that look very much like deers. So though we have a varied range of them, some of them bigger, some of them smaller, but they roughly go from the impala being one of the smallest ones that the lions will often hunt to the kudu, which is one of the biggest ones that we get in this particular area. Now, they will also hunt all sorts of other things that may come their way, smaller things too, like birds or perhaps smaller antelope, but that is not that common. When you have a very big pride like this, they like to eat big things or hunt big things.